What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at Bolasie's freeze card. He is the weekly objective card for this week, and obviously comes whilst icon swaps are about. We've got foot champs. Honestly, there is so many games that we need to be playing. I think if you count icon swaps, foot champs, and I think Bolasie, you're looking at about 85 games this weekend, maybe even 90, and that's winning most of them. And obviously, if you do play 30 weeks of a weekend league. But there was no way that I was missing out on Bolasie. He is a 5-star skiller, so he is quite a nice cam. Obviously, nation-wise, a little bit harder to link, but he is in the Premier League, and I think a lot of people, especially looking at the icon swaps friendly game, the one max league, it's a common theme that everybody's Prem team is always miles better than their others most of the time. Some people don't, but most people have a very, very strong Premier League team, and then in terms of like Bundesliga, Liga 1, Serie A, and what did I miss? La Liga or Bundesliga, either one, they tend to be a lot weaker. So I feel like you'll fit into a lot of teams. Let's get into the review. Let me know, what do you think of Bolasie's objective? Would you change anything? The objectives are coming in quite similar, I feel. We will have a look at the objectives on the end bit of the review as we'll go through Footbin. But what do you think of it as an overall? Because we are getting very samey kind of objectives. It feels like a rinse and repeat method, especially with like the league players. They're pretty much the same but a different league. Would you change it? Let me know down below, and let's get into his review. So then with Bolasie, he is, like I said, a 5-star skiller, 3-star weak foot. He is 6'1", so a very big player, right-footed with the high attacking work rate and the low defensive. So he's already got nice work rates. He is obviously the big 5-star. We don't see too many of them right now, and especially in terms of Premier League, there is only a handful there, and especially special cards. Weak foot lets him down a little bit. I feel like that, for me, would have been icing on the cake for him, because he is coming in at a point where there is so many cams. We've got Bruno, Kevin De Bruyne. We then have a Madison team of the group stage. We have a Mason Mount road to the final. We have a Freeze Bernardo Silva. He is coming in with some real big boys. Obviously, the first two I mentioned are my personal two favourites. Mason Mount has just got an upgrade to an 85. So obviously, he's come from, I think it was an 83 or 82, all the way up to an 85 now, and can continue to go up if he does make it through the Champions League. Every kind of spot is now going to get him an upgrade. So he's got competition, and I don't know if any of them actually have the 5-star skills, but a lot of them have the 4-star. So it all depends on what you want from that cam. Would you like a skiller that doesn't matter to have a weak foot of 3, or would you prefer the balance of a 4-4 and have somebody who is necessarily considered better? He has got the flair trait on him, and that is pretty much it. And in terms of the player stats, we've got good pace, nothing really too spectacular. 6'1", I expect him to be quite a, not necessarily a bulky player, but someone who's quite a big, can dribble, because he's obviously got the 5 stars for a reason. He is a lean sort of player. He's not necessarily a stocky cam. He is more of a kind of sleek, I think he's a bit leaner than Pogba, but that sort of esque, kind of like, he can kind of battle his way through. He's got a few skills. He can do the scoop. He can do the roulette pretty quick compared to most other 6-foot+ players. But in terms of kind of like his overall ability, I feel like it may be kind of just weighed down a little bit. I think as a cam, I like a little bit of a smaller player. Maybe I would say personally 5'8" to 5'11", 5'10"-ish, and that for me is my perfect cam. If he was a centre mid, a centre mid or a CDM, that's where I prefer bigger. I feel I prefer someone who's going to get in the way, he's going to intercept, and he's going to win that header. That personally is kind of just how I like to have my midfield set up. Doesn't necessarily mean it always translates well into FIFA. Like FIFA 19, it was just tall players throughout. If you had a tall, fast player, for instance, say if Bolasie had 90 pace, 90 shooting, and say 90 physical, he would be an absolute god in the game, because tall players work. In this game, I feel like it's a bit of both. You can necessarily use a few different players. There is like this one meta, but I feel like if you are kind of used to a player, you can almost bypass that a little bit and use him to his potential, and sometimes it may not work out. You may get to the 29th win on your foot jams, and Bolasie for some reason just lets it go. He has got 80 composure, which for this point of the game, I'd say is low, personally. And the one thing I think with Bolasie, looking at him overall, he's got nice stats throughout, and he is a free card. I think it always boils down to the fact you don't actually have to pay anything for him. So for me, he's good for objectives, especially if you've got maybe a max of one club. You could have some Everton players there. He then falls into that special category. Then you could have, you could even have Congo players. I don't know how many there is in FIFA, but it could happen. It literally could happen. African players, anything like that. You could have so many different places where he could fit in, and it just works. So it's a really nice card to get. Personally, I don't think he's better than a few of the options that we'll have a look at the end, but let's look into the overall gameplay of him. So in terms of Bolasie, what did we kind of find? Very good on the ball. I do like his dribbling. I think it works well. Managing to assist Werner, and I think we were using, I can't even remember the other player we were using up front, but we were managing to kind of go with it. You see here, winning the ball back, and the fact he is 6'1", he has got a bit of strength on him, and I do like that because obviously it works to his favour in times, where especially where you've got defenders on you, he has that kind of a little bit more of ability to shrug it off, and honestly, he just plays really well with the strikers. I personally played this formation in a 4-1-2-1-2. I have since played in a 4-2-3-1, and I do enjoy that as well, and I feel like he'll play really well as a middle cam. We see there, not quite getting the angle on the shot, but he's managing to get past, and you see here, makes the tackle, and he manages to get the ball away. Not only can he go forward, he can do something at the back. I'm not saying that he's incredible because his defending isn't quite perfect. We see another shot there, again going with that, and I think that was literally a replica of that shot before, but personally, I enjoyed him. I thought he was a good player, especially for a free player. I'm never going to complain too much about that, to be honest with me. To just start off with Bolasie's overall then, we have got all of his objectives here. Score 2 or more goals per match in 3 separate matches using Premier League players in FUT-friendly managerial masterpiece. So it is away from the one league. It is the original friendly that you can play, and you must have at least 8 Premier League starter players in there. Assist 10 goals in the masterpiece with at least 8 players in your club or in your starting squad. So again, it could be literally your Mbappe, your icon, whatever you want to put in there to score. It is literally just that you've got to have 8 Premier Leagues. Score in 15 separate matches with at least 18 Premier League. Again, it doesn't matter who you score with. It just matters that you've got 8 Premier League. Score 4 outside of the box goals using a Premier League player with at least 8 in your squad. That one does matter, so you need to have somebody who's going to score from outside of the box, and he has got to be a Premier League player no matter of the position. Win 7 matches in FUT-friendly managerial masterpiece with at least 8 players. Again, you've just got to have them 8. Doesn't matter who scores, doesn't matter who assists. So obviously the kind of longest one you've got to do is scoring 15 separate. It doesn't seem like a lot, but you've got to do 15 matches at the minimum. And yes, you'll get your 7 wins in that. But personally, what I always found is normally I can get, 8-9 matches in, and I'm done on everything else. And that's what really kind of bothers me with this one. I don't mind it to an extent, but 15 matches can be a lot. And especially if maybe you are trying to score and they're doing a different objective, it's just very time consuming if you cannot find that goal. And 15 matches on an overall to do, you're looking at what, about, say, being kind, say 15 to 17 minutes a game. You're looking at 15 times 15, for instance. It's just a lot of time. Think of half a weekend league. That is practically what you've got to do. And you do get rage quits every now and then, but personally, it is very, very long to do. In terms of the player then, Bolasie, like I say, not bad on pretty much everything. There is a few stats I'd like to have higher up. Obviously, the composure for me is 1. Acceleration is another. Finishing, if you're looking for a kind of like scoring cam, I would definitely want that to go up. So maybe you're looking at a hunter, maybe you're looking at an engine or a finisher. So we'll just have a quick look at them. So a finisher, just on this, so you get your dribbling and you get your shooting up. You get the shooting up quite nicely, turns him into an 87 cam or a 90 striker. Very interesting there. Obviously a bit of agility balance on him there. We get the engine, which is kind of more of the cam move. 87 cam, gets his pace, his passing, and also his dribbling up, but no shooting. Personally, not my fan favourite. And then a hunter, pace and shooting, no dribbling. So it all depends on what you're looking for. If it was me, I personally would be looking at Hunter or Finisher, depending on how I want to play him. I do have 2 nice strikers, so maybe I go with something like the Finisher, because then he gets a bit more dribbling. He doesn't necessarily need to be more of the pace guy. He just can have that kind of overall ball control ability and kind of work with that angle, really. He has had a nice upgrade, obviously, from his 75 left wing, which is just crazy that he's come up 10 ratings in this promo, and I like the fact that they're using players that necessarily won't get many upgrades. Like, I think what Bolasie is, how old is he? 31 years old, and I don't think we've had many upgrades. We've had a few. We've obviously started a silver, couple of informs in FIFA 15 for Palace, managed to get another inform and another. We got a FUT birthday, a league SBC, a road to the final, and then now we have got a freeze. So it's nice that they are using different cards, especially 5-star skillers. Never going to complain at that, but it's just nice to see as an overall that they are not just using the same players every single week, which obviously you may have an opinion that's different because they do tend to use some of the players, but on these sort of kind of objectives and SBCs, I like to see different, and I think it's actually working out quite well. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. We are trying to get to 7k before Christmas. We need, I think, under 200 subs now until we get there, so make sure you smash that if you are still here, and I'll see you all for the next one. Peace.